How's it going, guys? Got a video today. As promised, we're going to be working on the RX-7 and the Civic. This time we're going to be doing a battery swap on my Turbo Civic, and then for my drift car and the Civic, we're going to be putting battery tenders on both of them. And not only are we just putting them on the car, we're doing it in a way that is permanent-ish, you know? So rather than having these like typical clip-on style connectors where they're like alligator clips where you open them up, put them on the terminals, and then let go of them, we're going to be cutting those wires and actually putting on ring terminals. So these will get cut off. We got ring terminals here. These will get crimped on in place, and then these will get screwed or bolted onto the battery. This one, I mean, it'll obviously get bolted to the terminals, but we've got one of these for each car, and we've got the 4 ring terminals that we need. And as you can see here, it'll bolt up kind of like this, but we'll just bolt them to these bolts, and we're gonna switch this battery out too. So I guess that's really it. I mean, I've got the tool to crimp the ring terminals on and cut the alligator clips off from these battery tenders. So I guess what we'll do is, because we have to change the battery in the Civic anyways, it just makes sense to me to start with that first, get the battery swap out of the way. It should only take a second or two. And yeah, and then we can start wiring up the battery tenders. These are real simple. I actually never tighten the terminals on any of my vehicles. Well, I do on the drift car just because the battery gets slid around a lot. But that's that. Positive post on the right. Get this one out of here. Now that we have the battery and the Civic replaced, I guess it doesn't technically matter which one goes where. So what we'll do is we're gonna leave these leads long still, just because there's not a lot of amperage being drawn through these. What I will do, in case I ever decide to put these back on here, which I probably won't, they're cheap enough to just go buy another set, is I'll leave enough so that if I want to put them back on, I can. Make sure they're the same length. Actually, what I'll do, so I know which one is negative, is I'll wrap it with tape. So like I was saying, we will take some black electrical tape and wrap it around our negative lead. That way, once we have it on the car, we know what is what. Got our wire stripped back. Feed it through. Something that may be a good idea just because my crimp tool doesn't have as much leverage. I may take these over to the vise and I'll crimp these on the vise just to make sure I got a good connection between these. We'll bring this over to the vise and we'll just tighten it in the clamp. Let's see how much better this one is. all flat, squished down, just how we want it. Plenty long. You could put this in the car, you could put this wherever you want, honestly, and still have plenty of cable. So I guess let's go mock it up in the RX-7 and we'll see where it fits best. I think I'd like to come out of the car in the trunk area with the plug portion. So I already have the battery hold down off, as well as all the hardware. In your car you may have a cover and stuff that you've got to remove, but this has been on the charger anyways, so all of that stuff had to come off. The big reason for me wanting to do this in this car specifically is that to put the car in a trickle charger, I have to unbolt this steel battery bracket that I made and then remove the cover, and it's just a pain in the butt. Whereas if I have this all hardwired in the battery, I've got this mounted in the car somewhere, it'll just be hooked up all the time when I want to charge the battery or put it on the trickle charger. All I have to do is just pull this wire out and plug it in. So it just makes way more sense than having to undo this every time and jump the car, and you know, it just saves you a big headache. So I guess that's that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tuck this extra wire in here. I'm probably gonna mount this somewhere right here, and then the extra wire that I don't use, will get coiled up and then put on top of the coilovers. So something like that. I don't see an issue with that at all. I just got finished up on putting the battery box back together in this, and also mounted the charger, the trickle charger, with a zip tie. And then we just have the wire running out, and you can, once you pick up the tools, you can just close this, and now you have your lead to plug the car in. So just to make sure everything works good, which I'm sure it will, it's bolting down O-ring connectors to a battery terminal versus using clamps like that is gonna give you much better bite. But just for sake of checking it, I'll grab an extension cord real quick. We'll throw that down and see how it works. And just like that, it's charging. So this one's a wrap. We'll close this up. Honestly, I'll just leave it going. That's kind of the whole point of this. These cars aren't driven a ton, so just leave them plugged in. I mean, it isn't gonna hurt them. But now that this one's done, we're just gonna repeat the same exact steps and just kind of briefly record what we did over on the Civic, and that'll be a wrap. And that's it. So both cars now have battery tenders in them. And I won't have to worry, hopefully won't have to worry about dead batteries anymore in the hatch. That's something that I've been dealing with for a while now, and I'm kind of sick of it. So I do know that when you take either the positive or the negative for the air management, you take the wires off the battery and touch them on it or whatever, just move them around, they spark like crazy. I don't really understand why that's doing that, because again, it's not on, the controller's off, the ignition's off, everything's off. So it is what it is. Here we are with the hatch. The cable comes up out of where the wipers used to be. And then on the RX-7, the wire just comes out of the trunk. So I was thinking about drilling a hole so it could maybe come out like behind the bumper, or even like where the license plate mounts. Because on this we have the license plate that's removable with a kill switch back there. And the cool thing is too, is you can also use the kill switch on this car and it will still be charging the battery. So something I may do is switch over to a kill switch in the EG hatch as well, but I'd really like to figure out the air ride solution beforehand. That's gonna do it for this one. I appreciate you guys stopping in and checking out the video on installing battery tenders. If you have a car that you don't drive a lot, this is the thing to do. You don't even have to go to the extent that I did and put ring connectors on it. You could literally, as long as you have room, you can leave these and leave the battery, the trickle charger under the hood and just plug it in, you know, whenever you're not using the car. I think it's a wise move. So we'll see you in 3 days. Not quite sure what we're doing for a video yet. I've got some ideas. I just need to come to the conclusion on what I want to do. But in the meantime, stay tuned on shorts. We're there every single night. The time ranges, sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 9 p.m. So just keep your eye peeled. If you don't see them out at night, whenever you look, come back the next morning. They'll always be there the next morning. So thanks again for checking it out. Hope you guys learned something. And until next time, we'll see ya.